highly trained and disciplined Air Force cannot hit civilians. And well-known CBS journalist Hermela Aragawi says #NoMoreMovement will prioritize issues of GERD, advocating Ethiopia's cause to the international community. A very warm welcome to Addis News Hour. With the news, I'm Shifara Olako, and many thanks for watching us. Now, Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed says he is pleased to welcome today General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, the Vice President of the Sovereignty Council of the Sisterly Republic of Sudan, on his behalf and the people of Ethiopia for his kind visit to his second country, Ethiopia. The Premier also expresses his appreciation for the deep historical bonds that bind the two brotherly people that cannot be separated under any circumstance. He further emphasized that they will strive to do their best to preserve it and strengthen it for the good of the two nations. It was noted that on his arrival in Addis Ababa, the Vice President was warmly welcomed by Ethiopian Minister of Defense Abraham Balai and the Director General of Ethiopia's National Intelligence and Security Service, Tamasgen Truna, as well as other senior government officials. In another development, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has met with associations and members of the Ethiopian diaspora community. The Premier and the diaspora members have discussed various issues according to the Office of the Prime Minister. It is recalled that a large number of Ethiopian diaspora communities have come home following the Great Ethiopian Homecoming Challenge. Now, moving on, the Chief of the Ethiopian Air Force, Lieutenant General Yilma Merdasa, says the Ethiopian Air Force is well equipped with technology to protect national sovereignty. The Commander-in-Chief told Ethiopian news agency that the Ethiopian Air Force, with its highly trained and disciplined pilots, is capable to hit targets and prevent civilians' casualties in any operation. The Air Force has been working day and night without taking eyes from Ethiopian flagship mega project, he has stressed. Johannes Fantaun has more on that.
During his stay with Ethiopian news agency, Chief of the Ethiopian Air Force, Lieutenant General Yilma Merdasa said Ethiopian Air Force has been played an important role in effectively responding to the threat posed to Ethiopia. The Air Force is on high alert to prevent any attack from any part of the Ethiopian airspace and to take retaliatory action to protect national sovereignty, the commander underlined.
We
did not just jump into the fray when the war broke out, but we did manpower update. We have been working to teach our staff manpower and how it can be used. We have equipped ourselves with the necessary weapons and we have renewed the supply of new ones. Together with these all, we were preparing to prevent airstrikes on our country before, during and after the war.
He said the Ethiopian Air Force is becoming more and more organized with skilled manpower and modern military technology to protect Ethiopians and national sovereignty. Though supporters and leaders of the TPLF terrorist group saying that the Ethiopian Air Force were attacking civilians in the Tigray state, which is totally wrong narrative.
We do not make any mistake in a use of the Air Force technology. We always attack our target with our own eyes. In this way, we have identified who is armored, who is civilian, and whether the weapon used was heavy and light before we were taking the action. The enemy says we have not done anything wrong and will not do it in the future on civilians.
The commander-in-chief added that the militants had no uniform and leaders of the group were collecting bodies of those killed in the fight, pretending to be civilians and trying to confuse the international community.
They deliberately hid among the civilians and led the army and the people. Moreover, the forces we were fighting did not have their own uniforms. So it was said that they have gathered all the data and killed civilians. This is to discredit the defense forces.
Furthermore, Lieutenant General Yilma Merdasa noted that the Air Force has been working day and night without riveting eyes from Ethiopian flagship mega projects. The commander reiterated that new systems will be introduced by the Ethiopian Air Force to further modernize the institute with the help of research workers.
Now, the terrorist TPLF group is disrupting humanitarian aid from passing to Tigray region along the Abala route of Afar region. National Disaster Risk Management Commissioner Mitiku Kaza disclosed. The commissioner told ENA that since the declaration of the unilateral humanitarian ceasefire, the government of Ethiopia has established a number of ways that boost effective and efficient delivery of humanitarian assistance to the region. The government facilitated the Abala route to transport humanitarian assistance, including medicine, food and non-food items from Afar to Tigray regional states. According to him, most of the partners have benefited from the mechanism put in place by the government of Ethiopia, and they are able to transport medicine, fuel and other necessary assistance. Commissioner Mitiku stressed that this helped the people of Tigray to get adequate amount of food and non-food supplies. However, the terrorist TPLF invaded the Amhara and Afar regions, looted and vandalized infrastructures in the region. Medicine, food and non-food items were also looted by the terrorist group. TPLF looted 100,000 quintals of grain from the warehouses of the Commission and its partners in Kombolcha. After storing the looted food and non-food items and other items, the terrorist group launched an attack on Abala, the only operating route supplying aid to Tigray. Following the attacks and harassments by the terrorist group, about 40,000 people have been displaced from Abala, the commissioner noted. Mitiku called on the international community to put the blame and pressure on the terrorist TPLF to respect the international humanitarian aid law. The terrorists are shelling Abala with heavy artillery, he said, adding that the Afar route has therefore been blocked since December 15, 2021. The commissioner further stated that over 1,010 aid trucks that should have been on the road delivering much-needed humanitarian support are stranded in the Tigray region. The government has given permission to the World Food Programme to transport and deliver humanitarian assistance to Tigray using its own trucks. And around 118 trucks are allowed to transport food and non-food items. Welcome back. You're still watching Addis News Hour. Now, the people and the government of Ethiopia should stand in unison to hold all-inclusive, genuine national dialogue to reach consensus on key national issues and to solve the recent conflict in the northern parts of the country. The remark was made by the well-known CBS journalist Hermela Aragawi when she has briefed journalists today on various issues of the country. She also highlights that the next #NoMore movement will prioritize the issues of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, advocating Ethiopia's cause to the international community. Haptamu Ashagri reports.
Hermela Aragawi is a well-known CBS journalist and started #NoMore movement to show her solidarity to Ethiopia against the undue foreign pressure. After her arrival in Addis Ababa 3 weeks ago, Hermela held press conference to journalists on Saturday morning on various issues of the country. Speaking on the occasion, Hermela said the people of Ethiopia and its government should be tirelessly working to solve the conflict in the northern parts of the country.
I think it is past time, in my opinion, to be talking about TPLF atrocities, because now we have to talk about, okay, but how do we fix it? Because they're not gonna, right? They are committed to dragging the people down with them. And so essentially what we have, in my opinion, is a hostage situation. Now, some of those hostages might buy into the idea, right? So I'm not saying everybody's involuntary. But if anyone's going to fix this crisis, to me, it's the Ethiopian government and the Ethiopian people coming together and coming up with something.
Regarding the current national dialogue, Hermela hoped it will hold an all-inclusive, genuine national dialogue to reach consensus on key national issues.
I just hope the best for everybody that's involved, and I hope they use their wisdom and any capacity that they have. And I think the national reconciliation is a part of that conversation. If people that previously feel like they supported TPLF or they supported the leadership there, if they can be a part of the conversation in a different way, I think that will be a necessary part of undoing this war.
She has also remarked the concern of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The next #NoMore movement will focus on the hard factors on the ground for advocating Ethiopia's cause to the international community. Journalists need to bring mainstream platform to speak and discuss more about the good opportunity that rely on the flagship project, she underlined.
I want to start with what you said about GERD. I think you said a lot of interesting things. GERD Nagar is the next big no more issue. We cannot let that be what happened with the war, where the narrative comes and then we go on the defensive, right? You brought up the 1929, 1955. I don't know if it's the exact dates, but I know it's around those dates. Let's start talking about that. This should be on mainstream platforms. Let's talk about how much of the water is actually used by GIPS. Let's talk about how much agriculture that they're able to use from that water, and we don't use any agriculture. There's so many points of conversation to have there, and we cannot wait to be on the defensive again. That's my personal project too.
Hermela calls upon journalists to do more in stabilizing the black propaganda that will be propagated by foreign countries in the near future.
GERD is really on its way to actually opening. I think as journalists, we should all be paying attention to that. What went into making this happen? How is this going to change the lives of people here? There are probably a million stories we could do around GERD, and we need to start doing it now. Why? As soon as it opens, there's going to be an entire propaganda coming from the outside, from actors that don't want us to have it. So just the way that with No More, we thought, okay, this 1-year anniversary is coming, what can we do? We have to think the same way about, okay, GERD is probably going to open in the near future. What can we do to go on the offensive? We can talk about the people that work in those areas whose lives have been changed by the jobs that have been created. We can talk about what the energy is going to do for the people here. We can talk about how this is going to change the lives of women and mothers.
Presenting accurate and proper information is also critical to fight the foreign media outlets, Hermela stressed.
Now, the political science and international relations scholar at the Addis Ababa University and one of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam negotiation team members, Dr. Yacob Arsano, says the stance of Egypt and Sudan on some points of the binding agreements on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam are not acceptable. Talking to ETV yesterday, Yacob explained the multiple benefits of the Ethiopian Renaissance Dam to Sudan and Egypt. Kasaun Chane reports.
Indicating Ethiopia has repeatedly stressed that the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam will not harm any of the riparian countries, Yacob Arsano pointed out that the dam didn't bring any negative impact on any of the downstream countries, even after the completion of the first and second filling. Cognizant of this fact, Yacob blames some of the binding agreements of Sudan and Egypt with regard to the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam.
Some of the issues they raise to be binding is really funny. For example, Egypt and Sudan want that Ethiopia should allow them to administer the dam together, and that is not something Ethiopia can accept and should accept, and that is not that they can get it, because the dam belongs to Ethiopia. And Ethiopia is the owner of the dam. Ethiopia is the constructor of the dam. The Ethiopian people are sole owners of the dam. So Egypt and Sudan will have no place to administer the dam. Ethiopia, while administering the dam, can of course supply information if there are any changes in the administration, so that Egypt and Sudan also get prepared to adjust some of the things, which may be required. Another thing is that they want that the dam should be filled in much longer time, like 12 to 20 years, while Ethiopia wants to fill the dam and to produce electricity. There is a lot of investment on Ethiopia's part.
The design of the dam is vigilantly studied from the very beginning. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam provides ample protection against devastating floods and effects of water shortage during drought and dry periods for Sudan. Similarly, Egypt also benefits from water conservation at the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, and instead of wastage at the lengths of cubic meters of water to evaporation and in downstream floodplains. The reason why Yacob said it could benefit the downstream countries after the successful completion of the dam as well.
Egypt and Sudan will definitely benefit from this dam because Ethiopia has planned to fill the dam during the rainy season when water is abundant. So in any case, the construction and the filling the dam and the utilization of the dam water in Ethiopia for electricity is useful for Ethiopia and not at all harmful for Sudan and Egypt. In fact, it should help, or it should really support cooperation between the three countries. And it is up to Sudan and Egypt to cooperate with Ethiopia.
According to him, African Union-led negotiation is not stopped, though Egypt and Sudan are very slow to hold in that regard.
Negotiation agenda is on the table, before the Africa Union chairmanship. So Africa Union is facilitating the dialogue between Ethiopia, Sudan and Egypt. And it is Egypt and Sudan, they are really very slow and they are sluggish. They know that the final end of the negotiation will really support the construction, filling and utilization of Grand Ethiopia Renaissance Dam.
He also underscored that it's significant to stand in unison as Ethiopian and assure a speedy completion of the construction of the dam up to its final stage to respond to the economic development endeavors of the nation.
The construction of the dam has to continue, and the construction of the dam is people's project, and this dam is going to be really significant in the economic life of Ethiopia. This dam is really a dam for economic purpose for Ethiopia, which is very significant. It's a flagship project, and all of us have been supporting it. Ethiopians abroad, Ethiopians in the country, Ethiopians coming from all walks of life, you know, young, old, farmers, you know, business people, government workers, private workers, people working in non-governmental organizations, all have been supporting it, and this is worth it, and it is being delivered, it is coming, and this has been realized.
Many scholars also agree the development of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam plays an important role in meeting an increasing renewable energy generation share towards sustainable development Goal 7 and better water management of Goal 6 of the SDGs, as well as meeting many targets of Africa's Agenda 2063.
Now, UK-based humanitarian assistance known as the Defend Ethiopia Task Force, in collaboration with Ethiopian Embassy in the UK, raised 11.8 million birr to support affected people by the conflicts in the northern part of Ethiopia. Speaking at the fundraising event, Ethiopia's ambassador to the UK, Teferi Meles, said Ethiopians, through their unity, defended their sovereignty from the attacks of the TPLF and its cronies. He added that they should accompany their triumph on the battlefields with united efforts to support displaced people due to the conflict. The head of the UK Defend Ethiopia Task Force, Zelalem Tesamma, on his part, said that the fundraising event demonstrated the unity and sense of fraternity among Ethiopians. He also underscored that the group has recently visited displaced people in Ethiopia and realized the need for extensive and planned support from Ethiopians in the UK to rehabilitate the victims.